we just now have arrived at an equation that if net force acting is equal to 0. Net force is nothing but sum of internal force and sum of external force. See, internal force will always be equal and opposite. For example, you have two masses. Okay, or you have a positive charge and negative charge. See, the force on which this positive charge attract this negative charge, that is force given by plus on minus, that will be equal to force given by minus on plus. That is force by which positive charge attracts the negative charge, that will be equal to negative charge attracts this positive. Or I can say that these two forces will be cancelling. So always internal force, sum of the internal force will be 0. That will happen to that will be the same scenario for the gravitational force of attraction. The gravitational force given by m1 on m2 will be equal to m2 on m1. So this also will be cancelled. So these are called as internal forces. So if net external force is 0, we will say that we know force is equal to dp by dt. Okay, here in this case, you know center of mass is equal to P1 plus P2. If it is having many particles, P3 plus etc plus 0. No, Pn. So dp f is equal to 0 means dp by dt is equal to 0, or I can say that dp is equal to 0, or we can again, dp is nothing but change in momentum is equal to 0. If change in a value is a 0 means that value doesn't change, or the value is a constant, or I can say that this value will be constant. So I will give you a better illustration for this. Let's say you have an explosive shell here, and this shell is going to split into two parts. One is a lighter part and another one is a heavier part due to the internal force. So explosion is basically happening due to the internal force. Now see, you know that center of mass will be exactly at the center for a mass. Let's assume this is a spherical body and the center of mass is at the same point, after splitting of this mass into two pieces due to the explosion, what will happen? See, there are no external force. This is exploding due to internal force. So if it is exploding due to internal force, we know the sum of the internal force is 0, and from this picture we know that there are no external forces acting on the body. So net force is equal to 0. Does it mean that after explosion that won't move? That will obviously move. One particle, the smaller particle will be moving and the bigger particle also will be moving. But once they make the motion, it will ensure that the center of mass of these two particles, or any particle, if it is 3 or 4, that will be maintaining the same center of mass. Once again I will repeat. See, it has a center of mass before explosion, and after exploding that has been split into two masses. But we know that as it has exploded with internal force, sum of internal force will be obviously 0 all the time, and there are no external force. So if the net external force is 0, we need to make sure that it will still maintain the same momentum, or the momentum will be conserved. What is the initial momentum? That is mass, total mass into velocity of center of mass. Here the center of mass is not moving, which means initially the momentum was 0. Now after explosion also it has to make the same momentum, which is nothing but 0. But we know that individual masses are moving in two different directions. So this is having a momentum P1 and this is having a momentum P2. And I also have explained momentum of the center of mass is nothing but summation of momentum of individual particle. So to maintain the same momentum here, which is nothing but 0, we will apply same equation here, 0 is equal to P1 plus P2, or I can say that P1 is equal to minus P2, which means that if this velocity is u and if the mass is m1, then m1 and m1 u1 will be equal to the big mass into v1, which means this will, if this is a momentum p1, then the second momentum will be nothing but opposite of that, or I can say p2 is nothing but minus p1. It will be same momentum by magnitude but opposite in direction. So p2 will be minus p1, or I can say that with this direction, I mean, like, I already have reversed the direction, so I already have given the negative sign considered here. So this will be a momentum going in that direction, m1 u1. This will be a momentum going in this direction, m1 v1, which is nothing but p1 itself. So you know these are vectors, momentum are vectors, so sum of p1 plus p2 is equal to 0, because this is equal and opposite. Same thing, if you have a big shell splitting into three masses, this becomes three masses due to an explosion. So center of mass initially was having a velocity of 0. So after the explosion also it should be having the same velocity for the center of mass, because it has to conserve the momentum. Initially it is m into velocity of center of mass, which is nothing but momentum of center of mass is 0. Now three masses you are having, this will be individually having velocity u1, u2, u3, and momentum m1 u1, m2 u2 and m3 u3. But the thing is, it should maintain the same momentum after explosion, so that now it is having momentum m1 u2 and m3 u3 here. Resultant of these two vectors will be this, and this momentum should also be the same, that is nothing but equal and opposite of the resultant of this momentum and this momentum, or I can say that P3 and P2 will be giving a resultant this, and that should be equal and opposite that of P1. Then it will maintain the center of mass at the same position, having the same initial momentum. Thank you.